Scarefest Radio is sponsored by Spirit Mechanics. For your spiritual health and well-being, find them on Facebook. MECHANIX. And by Coyote Chris Sutton. Bringing light to the darkest places. CoyoteChris.com.
The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest!
The guests of Scarefest Radio are selected and scheduled independently of the Scarefest Horror and Paranormal Convention. Appearances on this program do not necessarily reflect the itinerary of the convention.
And hello everyone and welcome to Scarefest Radio. Original broadcast date is May 4th, 2018. And as we say in the nerd business, May the 4th be with you. There's my reference for the evening. Of course, we're on the eve of the Derby, like we give a rat's ass. But anyway, that's apparently where everybody is tonight. Everybody's getting their hat on, as they say. Tonight, Brandon Griffith joins me on camera, on the air, to talk horror stuff that's going on. We'll be discussing movies. We do have, okay, this is what you've been waiting for. This is what everybody's been bugging me about. Yes, we do in fact have a major celebrity announcement tonight. A good announcement, not one of these. This is somebody that we all love. It is a return announcement. I'll give you a hint. It's someone who has been here before, but it's somebody people's been asking about, as they like to say. So we'll get to that but we'll do that. Let's say the 30-minute mark. What do you say, Brandon? 30-minute mark?
I think that sounds good.
That will give them a little suspense to build up to. Everybody. Of course, Scarefest Radio is sponsored by Spirit Mechanics. Spirit Mechanics for your spiritual health and well-being. Find them on Facebook, Spirit Mechanics, MECHANIX, and by Cody Chris Sutton, bringing light to the darkest places, CodyChris.com. And if you're watching on camera tonight, you will notice that I am wearing the absolute most wrinkled shirt that I could have found in my closet. But it is a nice spring-type design. And joined on air with me tonight, Brandon Griffith, who is wearing just a total rocking Hawaiian shirt. I have to say that one is that would fit into my collection quite nicely. So, well, Brandon, okay, before you get started on your stuff, I'm going tomorrow night to see Infinity War. Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it yet, but I am one of those guys that will read the spoilers online and then go watch the movie. I don't know if it's my old age. Like, I don't like surprises as much as I used to, so I have no problem reading spoilers.
Well, most of the spoilers, especially on it, were just the headlines were just so damn intriguing that that I just had to look. And so everybody, if you don't want to know the spoilers, don't listen to this. But I think everybody knows by now. Thanos kills half the people in the universe. Now, the problem I'm having with this, Brandon, I think you can help me with this, being a horror fan. If Thanos disintegrates 50% of the population of the Earth, I'm going into the theater kind of on his side, dude. I'm right there. I'm just like, boy, that would just solve a whole lot of problems. And so as a horror, okay, is this what it feels like when you all go in and like, ooh, Jason's about to kill somebody? Yes.
See, now I'm a fan of both sides. Like, so the Infinity Gauntlet, like the original comic series, like I love that. I have it. I've read it 4 million times. Loved it. I think from what I've read, at least online, the movie seemed to like take a good twist on it, and everybody seems to be really happy with it. Of course, like nobody expected the Avengers to come out like totally unspoiled. Like anybody that's read the book knows what's going to happen in the movie roundabouts, but they threw some good twists in, which I was really happy with from reading about it. But like when somebody goes in to like watch a comic book movie, if you're a hardcore, like most people overlap, if you love horror movies, you probably like comic movies at the same time. Most folks that I know generally prescribe to both sides. And so when you're going in and you're watching these movies and they have like these big dramatic deaths and even the Infinity series, like in the comic book, like there were some pretty gruesome deaths in that. To me, it kind of overlapped with the horror side a little bit. And the movie, from what I can tell, like when you're sitting there watching it, like I know I am, like I love like the unexpected. Like if somebody's going to die off, like those movies where they have those big dramatic deaths, like they're always more, they stick with you. When you come out of the movie theater and you're like, holy shit, what did I just see? Like that just follows you out. And so sometimes you get that with horror movies, sometimes you get that with comic movies. I think Marvel in this last one, I think they're right on par from what I've seen.
The only thing is, now just like the spoilers that I was reading, most people, okay, we knew somebody was going to die or multiple characters. That was they knew that all the people predicting the movie said, oh yeah, they got to kill somebody off or it just won't be Thanos. But you know, just like the whole screw half the universe thing, most of them hedged their bets on that though. They said no, they won't kill off half the known universe. They won't go that far. And so I was looking to see who all got bumped off. And of course there's some characters who I will not spoil for anybody that do get bumped off during the course of the movie in reasonably fashionable ways. But then he pulls the big one, and that's where everybody just totally freaked out. But yes, I'm going to the Ross Opera House in beautiful Cynthiana, Kentucky, because I can go watch the Avengers, get popcorn, take my wife and let her have popcorn, and it'll cost just like what, $1.49, $2. It's ridiculously low. So that's why I like going there. It really, I think it's $12, $25 for everything. Okay, so that is my date night. Will cost me $25, Brandon.
Well, I think I'm going to catch it on. Sometimes, like I don't like to tell Nicole this, but sometimes I'll tell her that I'm working in like Star Wars, for example. Like I never got a chance to watch Star Wars Rogue One, and so I kind of snuck off maybe one day at work and just said that I was taking a lunch meeting and then disappeared for 2.5 hours and then went and watched the Kentucky Theater. I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen with Infinity Wars. I'll probably sneak down to the Kentucky Theater and check that one out.
So we have our plans now. We have our plans. Of course, now, to be honest with you, most of them, I wait till it comes out on DVD or Netflix. I just saw Wonder Woman this week. I just now saw Wonder Woman.
Oh, I pieced that together on Vudu. So, like, I like to wait till it comes out on Vudu, and then I can watch it at my house, because apparently I've become a partial agoraphobic. I don't know, like, I enjoy watching movies in the theater, but I also enjoy it in my house.
I enjoyed it a lot more in my house. I'll just flat out tell everybody. But I do, on some of the big ones, because there is that big screen experience, it is a little different, especially now that my big screen TV is, like, in the county dump, and I'm watching it on this little one because I don't have another. I don't want to give up my monitor. I've got my 55-inch computer monitor that I need to take downstairs and use for a TV, but I can't bring myself to do it. I'm going to say it, people. I was disappointed in Wonder Woman, the movie. Not in the actress. I thought she was totally hot. But the movie itself, I thought it was overhyped. I was expecting a lot more than I saw on screen.
As comic book movies go, I know everybody's going to like argue about this, but like DC is far inferior. And like I'll tell you my favorite comic book movie that I've seen to date, and that's going to be Deadpool. Like, have you seen Deadpool, Wes?
Oh yeah, I saw that. No, I saw that on DVD though. I don't think I made it to theater. But yes, I did see Deadpool, and I'm looking forward to Deadpool 2.
Yes, and that will be out soon. And I tell you what, that makes me think too, like now that Ash versus Evil Dead is done, and Bruce Campbell has kind of renounced his playing Ash, like who do you think can fill that spot? And like part of me thinks Ryan Reynolds is the guy for the job, but I don't know. Like, I'm kind of torn a little bit.
Ryan Reynolds, I don't think. Nothing against Mr. Campbell, but I think Ryan's too good looking. Because the part of the charm of the Nash character is that he thinks he's better looking than he actually is. Not that he's not a good enough looking guy, but he thinks he's God's gift to women. Ryan Reynolds, unfortunately, is God's gift to women. Physically, anyway.
Well, you've got to have the chin. Whoever's going to do it has got to have the chin. They have to have the chin to replace the chin.
Yeah.
And so, in my mind, like, you've got Ryan Reynolds, who has mastered, like, the whole, like, sarcasm, good-looking leading man, kind of nailed Deadpool. That to me, that role was, like, created for him. But then I think a good possibility, though, would be Jensen Ackles. I would pay to see him as Ash taking over for Bruce Campbell.
I've not seen him. The only thing I know about him is Supernatural. So I guess you'd say I've not seen him stretch his acting chops. Is that, would that same characterization play? Yeah, it might. If he can push it over the top a little bit. I mean, I could see that before I could see Ryan, though. And that's because Ackles at least looks cheesy. He can pose in such a way his face he can do the furrowed brow thing and look cheesy enough to pull it off.
Yeah, I think either one. Like, I could see them totally, like, coming to the table with some different perspectives, but it's got to be somebody who has mastered, like, sarcasm and smart assery. It's got to be a good mix.
Oh, I am so far ahead of my field in all this. I was doing all those things before it became fashionable.
Well, Wes, I could see you, like, all you got to do is take the chainsaw that you let me borrow to clear out some logging trails. We can hollow it out, and, like, you put your hand in it and just shave a little bit, and I think you could sell it.
Now, see, but you lost me at shave. So
West versus Evil Dead. I mean, three letters. I think we've got a correlation.
I'm still disappointed. Nobody from Scarefest, hardly. Was it 2 years ago they had the Jason mask contest? Hey, my ride's here.
That's the downside of living across from a hospital.
They did a Jason mask contest that never came to fruition. I think I was the only entrant in it. And I did mine, not bling. What did they call it back then? Where the girls were putting all the sparkly shit on their jeans? Bedazzle.
Did you bedazzled a Jason mask?
Yes, I bedazzled a Jason mask. That son of a bitch is around here somewhere. I need to hang it up in my Scarefest studio here.
To each and to his own. It's you can bedazzle jeans too, and you could create an entire ensemble. I think there's some good jean jackets.
But,
you could get going.
Now that who knows, everybody? I might make my appearance in the costume ball this year. Everybody, we're going to take our first commercial break, our very first commercial break of the evening. You're listening to Scarefest Radio. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. We just found out that part of our radio feed does not seem to be going out over the air, but it is being recorded. I'm checking right now to see if the video is live, but it shows us live. That's all I can tell you, people. It shows us live. So if anybody can hear me, that's what's going on. But we will have a live. We will have an episode so that you can hear everything. Okay, we through our first break. Brandon, what did you bring to the table tonight?
So, I keep up on these things just because I'm interested and I'm a lover of all things horror. And so there's a lot of things that are out there that I think are common knowledge that I just want to reiterate to folks. But also, there's some stuff that I didn't know that as I kind of go through and look at every month, if it was me, I would want to know. So I just want to have a chance to throw that out there. Now, do you want me to just go into it, Wes? Because I've got a few things I could talk about. Now, we've already alluded to one thing, and I've got to be honest, like I'm extremely upset about this, but I think that this is something everybody knows about. We've all heard about it, but that's the end of Ash versus Evil Dead. It aired its final season this past Sunday, and then on top of that, Bruce Campbell went on Facebook to post that he is bidding farewell to the role. Now, personally, Evil Dead is probably like one of my favorite all-time franchises of all time. Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, the whole thing. When Ash vs. Evil Dead came out, like I got a Stars membership and I rocked it until the end. And now, like I'm totally about ready to like after it's over with, I'm rescinding my Stars membership. But like the final episode aired off this past Sunday, and I've still not brought myself to watch it because that brings an end to an era. And so I'm just letting it out there. Like I'm refusing to watch it because unless I watch it, it's not ended. But now that leads to the question that we were talking about earlier. And that's what I would like to hear from folks. I would like to hear an opinion on who you think could take over Bruce Campbell's spot as Ash. Because he's completely backed out of the entire role. It's like Star Wars, leading way to like all the new heroes. So like, what are we going to see? Who's going to do it? I've thrown out my possibilities, Ryan Reynolds, Jensen Ackles. Who else is out there that's got an idea of who could take over that spot? Because to me, that's a hard position to fill. And especially since you've got like, okay, so we've got some good news and bad news when it comes to like the Evil Dead franchise. So Ash vs. Evil Dead is gone. I'm going to watch the last episode, cut off my Stars membership, and then go on about my business. But then you've got something new that's coming out from Boom Dash Digital and Ghost House Entertainment, who have partnered together for Evil Dead Virtual Nightmare. And I read about this online not too long ago, and I'm really excited about it because I don't know like how many of you guys out there play like PlayStation, the virtual reality games and things like that. The one thing that I got exposed to that I was just blown away by was the opportunity to sit into a cockpit of an X-Wing pilot, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. In case anybody doesn't know that from any pictures you've seen from the 6-foot Boba Fett that scares everybody that walks into my house to the 6-foot Millennium Falcon that I have like hovered in the corner here.
And it's a big one. It is a big one.
Yeah, that's what she said. And exactly. So like, so you've got this opportunity like where you can sit in your living room and like the PlayStation experience I was talking about, the Xbox, like you can sit in the X-Wing fighter and you have a full 360-degree view of everything going on. Like you can play it firsthand. VR is phenomenal now. Like it's completely different than what it was like when our expectation of it when I was growing up, where it was like block figures and you had like Virtuosity with Denzel Washington. And that movie, I give it props, but VR has come a long way since then. So what they've done is they've created like an Evil Dead virtual experience where you are straight up in the infamous cabin in the woods. You're fending off like deadites left and right. And so it's a full 360-degree immersion in all things that are Evil Dead. So I'm learning more about that as it goes on, but it's something exciting that I thought would be really good to share with folks, because if we're going to celebrate, or not celebrate, but bid farewell to Bruce Campbell in the Ash role, then, we need something else to cling on to. And I think this may be it, because, I think it's a phenomenal thing. I'm going to read more about it, find out more about it, and we'll talk about it later on. Now,
quick opinion on that. Of course, you talk about who you would like to see in that role. So when you see a reboot of a franchise, you are one of the people that wants the replacement to be as close to the original as is feasible versus somebody who takes a role and recreates it in their own way.
Well, hold on. I'm not talking about a reboot. Like, I enjoyed the reboot of Evil Dead. Like, I thought it was a good movie. It's not a replacement for the original by any means. When I'm talking about someone to take over the mantle, I'm talking about a new storyline, something new. We need to take off from where it left off.
Not the character Ash, but a new character to move into that role,
yeah,
if you will.
Right,
okay.
right. Somebody to take over the mantle and move the franchise forward, not to reboot the old series. Like, as far as reboots go, like, Friday the 13th was a bit lacking. Nightmare on Elm Street, that was horrible. Now, the Evil Dead, when they started that back up a few years ago, I really, I enjoyed that. I thought it was a good movie. But I think that if we're going to move forward with Ash as a character or someone in Ash-ish that is going to move into that role and take Evil Dead on, it's got to be somebody that's going to fill the requirements of Bruce Campbell. And it's somebody that's going to have it's going to be a huge mantle to take up. I think that these guys, I really think Jensen Ackles would be a good person for it, but I would love to hear everybody's opinion on it. I've read a lot about it. There's a lot of opinions out there. And so if you've got an idea, I would love to see it posted.
Jensen might be able to pull off the attitude needed, but especially now when you're talking about, well, we might get into the whole Doctor Who thing. Every time they freaking switch doctors for a month, the internet is in a total uproar over who's the best doctor. And so if you, in other words, if you try to, if the new character is too much like the old character, you might see too many comparisons. If he just takes it and goes in a completely different, completely different direction, it might be safer. Because I mean, we're talking about an iconic character here. Let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, Ash is up there with like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger. Like, I mean, he's a staple, and so that's just. I don't know how somebody is going to undertake that or what direction they're going to go in, but it's got to be something that's got to involve the fans and some input from that and the Raimis. And I just don't know where you go with it from here, but it's got to be a strong lead. It's got to be a good show. And it's got to be something tied in with how Bruce Campbell has portrayed the character over the last, little bit. Like Ash versus Evil Dead, like to me, Ray Santiago and all those guys that are in that show, Lucy Lawless, like everything has been phenomenal with that show. And we want more. Like, I want to see more. I don't want to see it like just kind of fade off and then we wait 10 years and then we get something else. I mean, Ash versus Evil Dead was like 20 or 30 years in between like the last we got from Army of Darkness. I want to see the story progress and I want to see it take on another role and keep going.
I agree. Now I'm trying to pull up my stupid webpage that I just, for some absolutely no reason, closed. And it actually had, there's a couple, well, for one thing, and I didn't read the story, but now, while we're talking about reboots or continuations or whatever, I understand that Netflix is remaking Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I've never seen it. Can't comment. Don't know. I've never went into that realm. I couldn't tell you the first thing about Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Well, honestly, I can't either. But I saw that and I thought, I was thinking back, and I don't remember it being such a cult classic the last time.
Apparently it has, but I mean, if you waterboarded me right now, I could not tell you one fact about that show or anything about it. Now, if I called Nicole, I think she knows about it. She could probably tell you about it. But yeah, I'm not going to be standing in line for Sabrina the Teenage Witch, although I'm sure some people are. That's not my bag.
So we're at the bottom of the hour now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take my next commercial break. When we come back, we're going to do the contest tonight on Twitter because my computer's really hinky and I don't want to fool with Facebook. So we're going to do it on Twitter. So everybody, if you can hear the episode tonight, which I did find out why some people are having trouble hearing it, is I'm actually on the wrong channel. It's going out live, but it's going out live on the Spreaker channel, but not on the website, which was a total screw up on my part. But it's because I have a new computer provided by the Scarefest, and it's the first time we've used it to broadcast with. So, we're gonna do a commercial break. Come back on Twitter. You will be asked to tag at the Scarefest with a hashtag that's going to be 4 words all ran together, but it's what we've been talking about. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And then I might just drop a celebrity name. I might just do a celebrity announcement. Who knows? I'm in that kind of mood tonight. Everybody, you're listening to Scarefest Radio.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more. And we're back with more Scarefest Radio, talking horror news and discussion stuff about the horror movie and sci-fi and superheroes genres in the movies that's going on right now. With Mr. Brandon Griffith, co-owner of the Scarefest, because cannot leave out his lovely wife Nicole in this discussion. Now, for the contest on Twitter to win a 3-day pass to Scarefest 2018, Scarefest 11, Scarefest Rebirth, you have to mash this all up into one word. But I'm looking for hashtag end of an era. End of an era. So you have to put end of an era with no spaces. Hashtag end of an era, which is what we've been discussing thus far. Now, Brandon, for our celebrity announcement. I never do this, Brandon. I am going to let you. Well, actually, no. We need to have more fun with it. I'm going to let you actually announce it, but I'm going to do my little introduction that I love doing. You remember her from the TV series Flying High, where she played Sexy Hooker in Ladies of the Night episode. She played Girl in the burlesque episode of Happy Days, and of course, Cheech and Chong. Cheech and Chong's next movie, she was a hostage. So, but we are talking about the immortal, the one and only, Brandon, take it away.
Cassandra Peterson. It's Elvira herself, and you may remember her from what I remember her most from, Elvira's movie Macabre, a weekly horror movie presentation where she would riff certain movies, and it was beautiful. And also her movie that you guys may remember from the late 80s, where it was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And so those are all classics, and her riffing of movies is historical.
I remember Mistress of the Dark. I remember that movie. But you know what I remember her more as? I remember her more as playing a character similar to Elvira in all of these freaking movies that I'm looking at on IMDb. She took the Elvira character and made it a caricature of itself somehow. Who gets to do that? Who gets to actually play their self playing someone else?
See, the thing that I enjoy about, what Cassandra and you've got Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. You've got Mystery Science Theater 3000. You've got the iconic Joe Bob Briggs. You've got all those guys that used to riff awesome horror movies. And that's what I remember growing up. And Elvira is right there at the top of it. I remember growing up, I got into Mystery Science Theater first, and then started watching Joe Bob Briggs, and then found Elvira from that, and have been a fan ever since. And so her personality, the way that she talks about movies, the way that she is let's be honest, she is a sex icon from the 90s, 80s, still today. She is a wonder to watch. Amazon has recently put her series back online, and so you can watch it on there. And I would suggest you do it because I've been doing it for about the last week, and it is beautiful to watch again.
I do need to announce we do have our winner for tonight's 3-day pass giveaway. So obviously someone can hear the episode, Brandon. Sandy, the Spare Mama. The Spare Mama. You are on Twitter. You are the winner. I have hearted your little thing. I probably still have your email address, so unless I change, just look for it. I need to catch up on sending my passes out. I'm like 4 episodes behind on sending my passes out. But if you haven't got your pass email yet, it's because I haven't sent them. So there. So we had our celebrity announcement. Now because it's been a while since we told you the first round of speakers. And then we announced the second round of speakers just last week. So I'm going to recap the speakers now on top of our wonderful celebrity announcement. We have coming this year to the Scarefest. Tom Conwell will be doing U.S. UFO sightings. Where is this going? And U.S. UFO sightings next step disclosure. Alan Marston is coming in with at least 2 speeches. Infamous, some of America's most prolific serial killers, Charles Manson and the Family, is his second presentation. Shannon and David Byers, she's got a slew of them. Where is Pearl's Head? That's about Bobby Mackey's Myrtle's Plantation. They just... So she packs a room every damn time, so they just say, here, give us a list, and we'll just add them to the thing. Kyle Cobb, he's another one. Okay, this guy's just ridiculous. Nobody should speak this much in their lifetime, let alone at one convention. But he's a great speaker, very intelligent man, a lot of fun on the show. Grimoires, Sigils, and Lore. I have no idea what any of those things are. Well, I know what lore is, but Grimoires, Sigils, I do not know. Exorcism Basics. Mancini Exorcisms and the Love God. Now that one sounds interesting. Ken Boggle, of course, of Scarefest Radio fame and Caro Date with Ken Boggle on the Haunted Space. He'll be doing an On Blast, which is his gallery, his tarot gallery, and also Paranormal Hangover Part 2. Last year he did a presentation called Paranormal Hangover. He'll be back this year at Scarefest with Part 2. Steve Coles is Bigfoot 2018, which is just like Bigfoot 2017. You can tell him I said so. Tim Woolworth, Consciousness, the Paranormal Research. Listening from the Inside and Ghosts and Spirit Writing. Michelle Wagner is one of our recent additions. Bud Jennis is coming with the history of horror on film. Jack Kenna, investigating the paranormal. Summer Jones, had her on the show just a couple weeks ago, and so it was obviously a good presentation. Yes, no goodbye. She's going to tell you about the Ouija board. Facing Down the Darkness. That's Chris Sutton and myself, Wes Forsythe. We are going to tell you about spiritual protection, and he's going to tell you horror stories, and I don't have any horror stories. He wrote the description for the topic like, I have these great stories, and my stories are really, really boring, but I can help you with spiritual protection. Stephanie Bingham, and I left one of hers out because it wouldn't fit on the little card here. The Spirits of Bourbon County, that was Booze and Booze, one with a Z, one with an S. Curses, Then and Now. Also, another one about Legends of Kentucky. Got a paranormal response team. That's Steve Coles and a whole bunch of his friends doing paranormal UFO cryptids and psychics. Then I am coming to Scarefest with my really bad tarot gallery. And it's a bunch of card tricks and jokes, people. Do not take it seriously. Southern Gypsies, Psychic Gifts of the Southern Gypsies. Will Crawford, Paranormal Sharks. I have no idea what that topic means. I think we're trying to get him on the show so he can tell us. Richard Estep, who's been on the show, has a new one. The Devil's Coming to Get Me. Chad Harlan, a fraud investigator, looks at the paranormal investigations, and it's about time. Eric Brooks, Gift of the Nile, Ancient Egypt in Film and TV. Lisa Shackelford and Christine Kiefer are True Ghost Stories television series is her topic. Stephanie Newman, Managing Anxiety Through Meditative Visualization, and our most recent edition, which I think we still got a couple more that they're going to give me in a week or two, Beth Darlington of Australia will be reading from the Lexington phone book. I don't care what she does. Demonic possession, possible alternative explanations. But our favorite Australian, because this girl flies over here every year, and she's been doing it for years. And so this year she will also be presenting. And she is, Brandon, I've talked to her. She's damned excited about it.
All right, so a couple things I want to add to that real quick. One, Wes's really bad tarot readings, they are well worth the price of admission. I've overheard some of them. I don't think I'm supposed to. I think it's like HIPAA privileges, although I have overheard some of them, I'll be honest, and they are well worth it. Now, the second, Beth is an absolute beaut. Like, I got a chance to sit down with her and Jake and Eric, if you guys are listening. We all got a chance to sit down last year and meet, and I still relish that. That was a great conversation, and I look forward to seeing you guys this year. And I think Beth will knock it out of the park. So if you are in the zone and you want to listen to Beth talk, I think, yes, regardless if she was talking Charlie Brownish, it is still a beautiful thing to listen to.
I'm telling you, having discussions with her, first of all, she does voiceover work, so she's it's not only the accent. She has a very, very lovely voice.
Yes, I could not agree more.
But her voice, and maybe it's this whole American thing because we all think British people are smarter than we are. But whatever she's talking about, if she's telling you that she had a flat tire in the taxi cab coming across town to get to the Scarefest, you are going to just be absolutely encapsulated in her storytelling. I have no doubt. So there, I've hyped you up, Beth, and she's going to be on Scarefest Radio middle to end of June, I believe. I saw it on the calendar. I don't remember the date, but she will be coming on Scarefest Radio, so you will get a preview of it right here. Now, so we got all that out of the way. And once again, everybody, Elvira, Cassandra Peterson will be at the Scarefest this year. What else is going on, Brandon? What else you got in your notes about the horror genre?
All right. Well, if Joe is out there listening, I'm sure you probably already know this, but Fangoria is making a comeback. And Wes, I don't know have you ever read Fangoria?
When I was a child, when I was but a mere child, I do remember it back in the probably late 70s. I remember getting an issue or two of it, but I don't. It's one of those things that I don't remember owning a copy since I've been married. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Let me tell you right now, for a small child growing up in eastern Kentucky, before the ages of the internet, and all I had was cable, like satellite television, I'm going to tell you right now, like me and my dad, we used to drive from Jackson, Kentucky, 2 hours to Lexington, and we would hit up every bookstore in Lexington, and I would find every single Fangoria issue I could find. I would drag it back home, and then all my friends would talk about it. And Fangoria has been one of those things that's just been a staple of my life. Like, I love it. But it went away, and now it's back, which I am completely stoked about. They have actually started back up, and let me pull it up here because I want to make sure I get this right, because Fangoria is one of those things that everybody remembers from their childhood. Like, that's how I knew about movies coming out. That's what me and my dad used to talk about. That's what me and my friends used to share. That's how we got our stuff. Like, you couldn't Google it. There was no wwws. Like, this was it. And so now it has come back out. And they have been really lenient with how they're reinitiating all this stuff. Like, so this company has come in and taken over and trying to reboot the entire thing. So now it's come. You can sign up online. You can renew your memberships. If you had like a 1-year membership, I think it's running like $60 right now, which is not bad. And like, I would pay that hand over fist for Fangoria. And they're keeping the old covers alive, if you guys remember that. Like, the classic first issue was Godzilla, and then you have like all the Nightmare on Elm Street covers. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you love horror movies, you know what Fangoria is. You know what it means to you. And now it's back. And so now they're offering like digital copies. You can get the old I know print's dead, but nothing is quite like getting a copy of Fangoria in the mail and reading it and catching up on everything that's going on. Like, it is amazing, and I hopefully like it's coming across. Like, I'm excited about it. And Joe, if you're out there, we need to get on this really quick, because it's live, and it's going to be like you can get your edition starting in like October, I think. And so even if you had a subscription before, because let's be honest, if you know Fangoria and you subscribed to it before, you may have been paying and not gotten an issue. And so I know I kind of fell in that boat. I know a few of my friends have fell in that boat. They are honoring a lot of those past subscriptions. And so if you missed out, you can jump in on it. And so I can't say enough about it. Wes, I'll let you borrow some old Fangorias, by the way, if you want to read them, because they're amazing.
Yeah, like I got all this free time on my hands. That's fine.
No, we all do. Yeah, we have nothing else better to do. I can sit in my basement and watch Fangoria or read Fangoria for a month and not have to worry about responsibilities.
Yeah. Because
we're all in there.
Because the dozen authors that have sent me their books won't mind a bit if I'm just reading some magazine in my free time versus actually finding out what the hell they're talking about so that I can have them on the shows.
No, my goal is I'm going to get it, and then every time I'm on a plane or where I'm in a doctor's office, I'm just going to leave an old copy sitting around, and hopefully somebody will pick up on it. We'll see what happens.
I do remember when I mostly saw it, because now they crossed over into sci-fi a lot, and it's particularly when the Star Wars came out. When Star Wars came out, they did a lot of coverage on it, mostly due to the makeup effects. They were mostly covering the makeup effects. But that is when I was in my Fangoria prime, I guess, is what I do remember that. And then it stuck around a while because they had a lot of scantily clad women with usually covered in blood. But
True.
But
and to this day, Joe Lewis is the man that I've seen with the most impressive Fangoria collection. So, Joe, if something ever happens to you, please will that to me. We'll work something out, like just putting it out there. But he has an impressive collection.
Okay, we're at our 3/4 of the hour mark, everybody. You're listening to Scarefest Radio. One more commercial break. Tarot reading. The very idea intimidates many people. Life guidance from beyond? Mystic hokum. Messages straight from the devil himself. Who the hell knows? With a really bad tarot card reading, you don't have to worry about any of that. My really bad tarot card readings are fun yet insightful. Spewing pop psychology, I bullshit my way through it straight from what many might call a warped mind. I have no training. I have no real marketable talent. Hell, I haven't even read the instructions. But they're cheap, they're fun, and as I always say, I might be wrong. Find my really bad tarot card readings at paranormalfiller.com. And to answer the question texted to us from one of the Scarefest staff, the reason there is no Elvira banner is because I found out about her tonight also. And I do the graphics. So guess what will not come out of my butt? Graphics. So, just to clear that up for the Scarefest staff. We were talking about reboots earlier. Now, just to throw you completely off kilter here. Pet Sematary. I saw where they're going to remake Pet Sematary.
Yes, they are. And you know who they just casted as so Fred Gwynn, you remember him in that movie? Mm-hmm. He played Judd Crandall, yeah. So they've got John Lithgow in there, and it's getting ready to come out. Jason Clarke, the guy that played in Terminator Genesis and the new Planet of the Apes series. So he's going to be playing Dr. Lewis Creed. So that's something that's going to be coming out. And Pet Cemetery was one of my favorites. So I'm hoping for a Ramones soundtrack to stay true to it. Like, but they are definitely taking steps in the right direction. And I don't know, Wes, if you know this or not, but Stephen King is at, like, right now, all things Stephen King has gone, like, it's just gone crazy. So, like, Shudder has been, like, Shudder has a lot. They've got it out there for It, Salem's Lot, Creep Show. If you haven't watched the original It in a while, it's definitely worth signing on to Shudder and watching it again, because I watched the new one and the old one all on the same day. It was beautiful. Loved it. Creep Show. Please, if you haven't watched that in a while, that is definitely worth going back. That's a George Romero and Stephen King classic. I mean, my favorite one from that one. And if you're listening out there, if you'll tell me your favorite story from that one, I would love to hear it. My favorite was The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill. And so me and Nicole, like, we actually got a chance last year to go out to Los Angeles, which we'd never been before, and for George Romero's Star on Hollywood Boulevard. And we're definitely out of our element. But that night, they had rented a theater, and they were doing a commemorative to George's work. And I was surprised that they showed Creep Show. Like, I didn't notice I didn't think that was going to be there. Because obviously when you think George Romero, you think Night of the Living Dead, Dawn Day, all those things. But, like, Creep Show is an amazing, amazing movie. And so I think, we got to watch that in the theater. And Nicole had never seen it before, and now she's hooked on it. So I'm not sure on Creep Show 2. If anybody out there has seen that, that is also well within its own right. But Shudder has done some amazing stuff here lately. And I know I talk about it every month. We don't have a contract. I don't work for them. But Shudder is a good thing. So, like, one of the things I talked about earlier, like Joe Bob Briggs, it's rumored on the internet. I don't know if it's true, but I'm really looking forward to it if it is. But Joe Bob Briggs is supposed to be having his own 24-hour marathon in June. And so if you guys remember Joe Bob Briggs and Monster Vision and Drive-In Theater, Drive-In Theater ran for like 10 years. And then Monster Vision picked up 4 years after that, I think. Drive-In Theater, I think, was on TMC, and Monster Vision picked up on TNT after that. And I'm sure everybody remembers that, but, like, his drive-in totals, like, so many mass murders on this one, like 4 exploding skulls, or it's just a myriad of things. But, like, everybody should know Joe Bob Briggs and that whole thing. And so if you've got a Shudder subscription, and if this comes to fruition, you can have Joe Bob Briggs 24 hours, just like in the old days. And if you watch, and Jake, if you're out there, you know Joe Bob. He was in The Stand, the miniseries. Again, another beautiful thing. But, Stephen King has a lot of stuff going on right now. Like, so Castle Rock, that's supposed to be a new horror anthology series that's coming out on Hulu. That's actually produced from Bad Robot, which J.J. Abrams. So that's supposed to be, I think it has Bill Skarsgård, I think Sissy Spacek, Scott Glenn, and that's going to be coming out on Hulu, I think in July. It's June or July. And then it seems to be the month of all things Stephen King right now, which reminds me, like, Wes, have you ever been to the Stanley? Have you ever been there at all?
No, that is on my bucket list, but alas, no, I have not. You know me, I don't go anywhere unless somebody pays the bill and nobody,
Well, let me tell you right now,
to do it.
If we ever win the lottery and we can all afford to go to the Overlook or the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, then we should do it, because I've been there a couple of times because I have to go there for work. And so a couple of years ago, we go out there, and, like, it's an amazing experience. Except, like, so you're at about, I think it's about 9,000 feet elevation. And so everybody has to remember, like, The Shining is different from the Stanley. Like, the Stanley is where Stephen King wrote The Shining. However, the movie was based on a hotel, I think, that's in, like, Oregon. And then a lot of the interior shots are from an England soundstage. But a lot of the motivation for the book came from the Stanley Hotel. And I digress here, but it's just a beautiful hotel. And so I go there one year, and this is after Colorado legalized the Yeah. So I'm there with a lot of coworkers, and Colorado now is kind of
oddly the crowd doubled that year. Go ahead.
Yeah, really. So oddly, Colorado has now become like what happens in Colorado stays in Colorado. It's kind of modeled Vegas, I think, in a lot of regards. And so I love Colorado. It's beautiful. Estes Park is even more so. It's kind of, you have to drive like 45 minutes north from Denver, and it's just in this bowl in the Rocky Mountains. So it's completely segregated. It's completely blocked off. If you think about it, like back in the day, there's probably some scandalous, crazy shit that went down in that hotel. But you go up there, and so we're staying there. There's a bunch of us there for work. This was after they had legalized and so I'm with a friend of mine, and I may or may not, I've glaucoma in my left eye. I don't know if you know that or not, but
I did not.
No, just in the left, and so Colorado, maybe that's the time to take advantage of that. But so I booked a room a year out. So we were there for a conference the year before, booked the room a year out, one of the most haunted rooms in the entire hotel. I'm like, okay, we're doing this, we're doing it right. So we get this hotel, and this hotel, by the way, has a channel dedicated to showing the movie The Shining 24/7 per day. That's all it watches. That's the whole thing on the entire channel. And so we're sitting there, and we try to do, I'm not a ghost hunter by any means. I'm not experienced. I don't know what I'm doing. So we're downloading apps on phones and listening for things. The only thing I know is I can't go in the bathroom and close the door because it creeps the shit out of me. So the whole night, I'm just going in there with the door open because it scares me. But the next morning was when it was really priceless, because they do these tours of the hotel. And so my room is on the stop, and then there's a room on the fourth floor that's on the stop. And so they take these groups of 13 or more people, and they go around to these rooms and all these different places, and they talk about the history. And so I'm getting ready the next morning. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock. And I hear people outside the door, and I'm like, why are they perched outside my door? So I listen a little bit more, and I realize they're on the tour. So I pack up my bag, get ready to go, and I'm like, all right, let's just try to make this interesting for me and for them. Let's give them a little bit of a memorable experience. And so I hear the lady talking about the room, the history of it, the ghost that's supposed to live there. And so all of a sudden, I pack my bag, grab the door handle, just open it really quick and step out 2 steps. They split like nonsense. One lady ran down at the end of the hallway. Everybody freaked out. Nobody expected it to happen. That was my favorite moment in the Stanley Hotel. And but they do all these things throughout the year. They have the Stanley film series, where they preview. I think they just previewed Puppet Master: The Third Reich, the new movie that's coming out from them, which is also part of Fangoria. But if you haven't seen it, from what I've heard, it's really good. If you remember the old Puppet Master movies, this is right on par with it.
I remember.
Yeah, those are phenomenal movies. I enjoyed watching them. Everybody enjoys watching them. Puppet Master is one of those things. It's just a great franchise. But they preview a lot of these movies at the Stanley Hotel, and it's beautiful scenery, and it's just a nice place to go. But they also have these big Halloween parties, which equally in their own right, that's on my bucket list, is to go to the Halloween party. So if we can ever do a live Scarefest radio from the Stanley, I'm all in it. We can write off on our taxes and live a merry life.
Well, I'm counting on my newfound stardom to get me booked out there. So if anybody's listening, well, we're at the end of the episode. To recap, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Cassandra Peterson is our celebrity announcement for tonight. Sandy Alvarez, the Spare Mama on Twitter, you won our 3-day pass, so we'll be getting that out to you. And so we've had a lot of fun tonight, just talking horror stuff, talking about sci-fi stuff, and everybody, we're in the home stretch now. The celebrity announcements are going to be coming. The guest roster, we've got all these new speakers that we're going to be getting on the air with their intriguing and interesting topics. So now is the time for Scarefest Radio. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in.